So we've talked now a lot about Kettle and Fire. We've talked about some of the lowlights, some of the mistakes. I want to now talk about Perfect Keto and Shirley, and these are just two of a couple of the things you founded. Talk a little bit about why you founded those and maybe what you did better or differently, or what you learned from Kettle and Fire that informed the approach there.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I started Kettle and Fire and then I started Perfect Keto like 18 months later. And so a lot of these lessons that a lot of these things that I'm talking about that were lessons from Kettle and Fire, I felt like I learned or got hammered home at the same time at Perfect Keto.
God, you learned them twice.
Yeah, but
It's
at the
like,
same time, it was horrible. Like around the same time I learned that we should have a finance team at Kettle and Fire, it was becoming blindingly obvious that we should have a finance team at Perfect Keto. Just brutal. And so both of these lessons got pounded very hard into my head. But yeah, I mean, I think that we learned a lot about how to operate a business generally, how to hire, train, build culture, innovate, think about products, think about market sizing, think about where to invest resources. And I think that I feel very fortunate that I was able to like look at two businesses at roughly the same time and like extract learnings from each of them and then apply some of those learnings to the other one. That was a really, really valuable thing. And I think coming out of that, like I felt very comfortable when we started Shirley, feeling like this is much more of a like I felt like we identified a trend. We did a better job on the branding up front. We kind of were more thoughtful about distribution and marketing and team and like all these sorts of things than certainly than we were in the early days of Kettle and Fire. We and Perfect Keto. We made a finance hire as one of our first 10 hires. The CEO and my co-founder at Shirley is doing an incredible job. He was the president at Perfect Keto and like has a finance background. And so I feel like a lot of the learnings that I had from Kettle and Fire and Perfect Keto sort of Shirley got the brunt of those. And I kind of learned bad, lessons across both KNF and Perfect Keto at the same time.
Yeah. Well, it's like maybe Shirley, maybe Shirley has tailwinds as opposed to the other businesses having headwinds. And, it's a nice thing to have. It's a nice thing to be set up for success and have an idea of what you're doing from day one.